Hello and welcome to the Beks Creates podcast. I have no idea which episode this is. I'll put it in the title. So my name's Beks and I'm coming to you from Bristol, where I live with my partner Paul and our cat Mufasa. It's been absolutely ages since I last podcast. I've been having a really tricky time of it. I've got a problem with my hip that I've had for years, and it's reared its ugly head again, and I've been really quite poorly, really struggling with pain. So that's part of the reason why I'm in a slightly different podcasting location, although actually I'm not far off where I usually podcast. We've actually decorated our third bedroom, so that's why it looks a bit different behind me, and we've moved things around, so I'm actually more or less in the position I'd normally be in, but because I can't sit at a desk chair for any amount of time, I'm sitting on our comfy new chair. So I'm not sure how long I'll be able to sit and do this. I might have to do it in a few bits, but hopefully I'll be able to edit it together so seamlessly that you'll barely notice. So yeah, it's been a really hard time. Obviously we're in lockdown as well, so I've spent a lot of time at home on my own, which has been really hard, but I'm trying to make the best of it. And the one good thing out of it all is that I've done a lot of knitting. The whole world is getting a knitted Christmas gift this year. So I've got loads of finished objects to show you. I've got a few whips. I've got a few acquisitions, and I'm not even going to show you all of them because there are a lot. But I'm knitting through them, so it's okay. And I also have a giveaway and some future knitting to tell you about, so that's quite exciting. You can find me on social media as Beksy Norms on Instagram, and I am Beksy Norms on Ravelry as well, although I'm rubbish at using Ravelry. I literally just use it to buy patterns. I don't post anything on there. So yeah, I should probably crack on. So my first finished object is a really exciting one, and it's one that I finished back in the summer, but it was top secret. So you may recognise it. This is the Festive cheer cowl by my very good knitting best friend, Hannah, who is Tales of Yarnia. And lovely Hannah, she just got married. Congratulations, Hannah, which is very exciting. And she designed this pattern way back in the summer, and she said, oh, I want to keep it as top secret as possible, so would you test knit it for me? And I was like, yeah. A, I love Hannah's patterns, and B, I love Advent patterns, so it was perfect. So she's designed this really cleverly. I did the small size, so she's designed two sizes, one for 12 mini skeins and one for 24 mini skeins. So if you have the 12 days of Christmas type Advent, you can use that, and if you have a 24-day Advent calendar, then you can do the bigger one. Or, you know, if you have 10 grams, you can do the smaller one. It's flexible. It's really flexible. So it's a really simple pattern. So you've got nice blocks, just a stockinette, just to go round and round and round. So really good in front of those Christmas films and things. And then you've got these rows separating them of Mosaic Knitting, which was lovely. It's really simple, really rhythmic. I love a bit of Mosaic Knitting. Now I used for mine, because obviously I couldn't wait for my Advent because I had to test knit it back in the summer, I used a gorgeous mini set by Siobhan's Crafts, which was, I think they were called the Sunset Minis, but there were only 10 of them, so I did add in these two colours. This one was a Mr. B's one that I had left over, and I don't remember the name, and this one was a mini that somebody gave me, so I don't know the name or the dye at all. But I think the colours look really lovely. I'm actually saving this for a Christmas gift. I'm not going to say who any of my Christmas gifts are for today, just in case anyone's watching. I don't think they will, but just in case. So yeah, and the exciting thing is that Hannah has very kindly offered this podcast a copy of the pattern to give away. So I'm thinking it's going to need to be quite a short giveaway because Advent starts a week today, next Tuesday. So I'd like to get it done. So if somebody wanted to start it with their day one of their advent calendar, they could. So I'm going to run this giveaway until Monday the 30th of November. All you need to do is subscribe to this podcast and then just leave a comment below and let me know which advent calendar you've got. That'd be a cool one. So I'm really excited. I've got 2 advent calendars. I'm very lucky. One is obviously the Mr. B's advent calendar, which is on a school nativity theme, which is just too cool. John has worked his creative magic and he has written an actual script for a school nativity to go with the advent calendar. So on Monday night, I will be sitting down with the script and reading that, and I might eat the bar of chocolate that came with it too. And then every yarn like fits in with this script, which is just so clever. And I know they're both, I haven't seen any of the dyeing, I've avoided it, but I know they've both worked really hard on dyeing really cool colours, so I'm really excited for that one. And then my other advent is an actual sort of Secret Santa type swap, which I've done with Claire and Hannah from Yarnia and our friend Kate. And what we've actually done is we did 3 sets of 8 minis to send to the other 3. So we then receive a set of 8 from each of the others, so we end up with 24. I did steal the idea from my good friends Sophie and Lucy and Imogen, because I know they do that in their group of friends too. So I thought it was such a good idea, and we've done that instead of a Secret Santa this year. So that's really cool because it made me think of them every day when I open them. So I'll talk a bit more about what I'm planning to do with them later. But yes, if you'd like to win a copy of this gorgeous pattern, just leave a message below saying that you'd like to win it and which advent calendar you have, or if you don't have one, which yarns you fancy using or what kind of colours. That'd be really exciting. And next Monday I will draw a winner and pass your details on to Hannah to send you pattern. So if you could actually leave your Ravelry name there as well, or your Instagram name, or wherever we can contact you, and then I can arrange with Hannah to get the pattern sent out to you. Okay, so that is my first finished object. I'm going to end up with stuff all over the floor because I'm not very good at bending, so I'm going to have to just dump things on the floor and then deal with the carnage later. So my next finished object is my good friend Bonbon Bunny, yet another one. At the beginning of the month I had to have a really big scan at the hospital with horrible contrast dye injections, and it was horrible, and you have to kind of rest up for a bit afterwards because it's quite a trauma having a needle put right into your hip joint, I can tell you. I've had several. So I had a couple of days of resting. Luckily it was just before lockdown, so mum and dad could look after me while Paul was at work. And I wanted a little project to do like that was small and easy to work on and kind of felt productive while I was having that rest. So in about 24 hours this little guy was born. The yarn is Bertie Bots by my lovely friend Kelly from Lay Family Yarns. I bought this a while back and I've already knit a hat which I showed you a long time ago with it, which is going to go with this for a present for one of my friends' little ones for Christmas. The pattern is by Susan Claudino, who is known at Sherlock, and her toy patterns are just great. They're so easy, they're join as you go. They just grow so quickly, they're not fiddly, they're just gorgeous. So this is always my go-to because they just look so cute as well. So yeah, there's Bonbon Bunny. So, now my next one, I'm really excited about this. I was trying to decide what to buy for a couple of my friends for Christmas. And I found one thing and I thought, I'd quite like a little Christmas decoration to go with it. And I had a little look on Etsy and I thought, hang on a minute. There's one thing I've got a lot of at the moment, and that's time. So why don't I make them some kind of decoration? So I had a quick look on Ravelry and remembered the Jody Brown hat vent patterns from last year. So I bought those and I very quickly made, sorry, I just picked them all up, these little things. They're too cute. So I've made these two, which are exactly the same. And I've put these little just crochet chain loops on them so they can be hung on the Christmas tree. So those two are the same. The yarns I used were leftovers I had of some pixie yarns that I bought last year. I think the green is called Barefoot, but I forget what the red is called. This one. This one is the mini Jojo's hat, which I've knit the big one of a couple of times and I loved. They were so sweet and so simple, and like the crown decreases weren't a faff. It was just lush. I enjoyed knitting them more than I enjoy knitting normal hats. A little red one and a little stripy one. And then I made tiny pom-poms using a fork. Great little Pinterest hack there. So those are going to go in 2 little sets of 3 to 2 of my friends, and I just love them. So sweet. I held the yarn double, so they grew really quickly. Each one took me about 45 minutes to knit. Easily a one sitting project. I'm just going to put these over there. So yeah, really cool those. Next up, now I think you saw this as an acquisition in the last podcast. So this yarn, I put out a little plea when I saw Freya. Gosh, it was probably the first time I saw her when we were first allowed to meet up after the first lockdown. She said that she'd like some rainbow socks. So I was looking around and I was struggling to find any nice stripy rainbow yarn. So I put a little plea on Instagram saying, does anybody know of anyone who's got some in stock? And I had a few suggestions. And a little while later, I had a message on Instagram from the lovely Michelle, who is queen of all things dramatic. And she just messaged me saying she was having a clear out and that she'd had a really hard time and wanted to, you know, pass some kindness on. So would I like this rainbow yarn? And I think she said it was from the Yarn Badger. It's absolutely gorgeous. And she also really kindly sent me this little rainbow bag, which I gave to Freya, and she just loved. She just carried around the whole time, and some sweets as well. So it was so kind. So I really enjoyed knitting these socks because it just felt like they were kind of, I was knitting in Michelle's kindness. And I did them nice and long. I thought she'd love long rainbow socks. Her feet are getting so big now. She's so big. She started school and apparently on the photos she's like head and shoulders above everybody in her class. So I am making socks for a tall one with big feet. But I just love making anything for my Freya because she is so knit worthy and I know she'll love these. So that's the next one. Then these are some Shorty Socks I have made for somebody in the family. They are a Harry Potter fan, and this yarn I think is another one called Bertie Bott's. I bought it in a D-stash from my friend Rach, and I think she said it was London House Yarns, but I loved that it was tiny thin stripes. It made it so like they just knit themselves because I was just like, oh, next colour, next colour, next colour. So I just made really simple Shorty Socks, just kind of my own recipe. I think they were 68 stitches. Afterthought heel, which just looks so cool with self-striping yarn because you get that kind of bullseye effect. And that's that really. Nice simple one. Okay, then I wanted to make a hat for a present, so I found this pattern and I think it's called the Skyping Beanie, and I have forgotten the name of the designer, but if you Google Skyping Beanie it will come up. I have discovered lately I don't enjoy knitting hats. I don't quite know why. I think it's something to do with needle size. I think it's because you can't start on one side, like one needle, and finish on the same one. Like you can't start magic loop and you can't start in the round and finish in the round without changing to DPNs, and it's just a faff. And I think there's a thing. Normans have big heads and I know I've got family members watching who will agree with this. We have big heads, so it's difficult to find hats that fit. So I don't often wear hats myself and I find it difficult to make hats that fit me. which we'll see in a minute. So I just don't really, I always start them and then I doubt if they're going to fit, and then it's a bit of a stressful process. But I wanted to make a hat for a present, so I gave it a go. I had this yarn, which was a skein of seconds that Claire gave me. I think it's Stonewash. As you can see, it had some white patches in, which I don't mind at all. So I was happy to receive them. And it's just got this kind of, it reminded me of the Blueberry Waffles socks and I think hat. So it's like a little broken rib pattern. It was a free pattern. So it's kind of a slouchy beanie. And it turned out okay. I did the pattern, the crown decreases were a bit vague in the pattern, and I did make a bit of a mistake. So there is, you can see like a ridge around here, but I know the recipient won't mind and it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, that was just a quick little knit. That was done in DK. And then, oh no, I've forgotten to bring one up, and it will be too much hassle for me to go down the stairs and up the stairs, so we'll have to go without. So it was my birthday a few weeks ago. Paul and I have birthdays 1 week apart, and his birthday fell 4 days before lockdown, and mine fell 4 days into lockdown, which was slightly sad. So I did steal his thunder a little bit by enjoying the celebrations as if they were my own, because I knew I wouldn't be able to see people on my birthday. So I had a wonderful day. I had lots of surprises. I had lots of doorstep visitors and drop-offs. Some friends ordered us a surprise afternoon tea to be delivered, which was amazing. But I decided that it was as good an opportunity to do my first birthday cast on as ever, because normally I just wouldn't have time to do a birthday cast on because I'd spend all day socialising. So I had some yarn which Claire gave me as an early birthday present, which she got for me at Lay Family Yarns when she popped up for a visit before lockdown. So the yarn is warm and toasty, and I had the warm and toasty fingering weight and the mohair, so I got to hold them together, which was lush, and it's so pretty. It's just a soft peachy colour with little pops. There's a few sort of caramelly browns, and then there's these like really bright pinks that sneak in, so it's like my perfect colour. Claire chose really well because it was a surprise. Now the pattern, God, I'm rubbish. I normally write all this down, but I just wanted to get a podcast done when I felt okay. I did mitts and a hat at the same time. The hat was Espace Tricot, that's right. The hat was Espace Tricot, and the mitts were Andrea Mowry. I'll hopefully show those another time. So I did break my rule and make myself a hat because I liked the idea of the matching hat and mittens, and I've got enough yarn left over that I could make something else as well. So I did a nice long brim, even though it's 1x1 twisted rib, which was a bit of a slog, but it looks so nice turned up. And then it's just got this twisted rib pattern with like an inverted rib, I guess. And I have ordered a pom-pom from Etsy, but our post is so delayed lately. Last week we barely got any post. Luckily we had post on Saturday, and a letter came through from the hospital about an appointment which was yesterday, but then we haven't had any post since. So I just feel like I was so lucky to get that letter, otherwise I wouldn't have had my hospital appointment. Anyway, I digress. It's supposed to have a pom-pom and it doesn't yet. And I'm not going to try it on because I've just done my hair, and that's a palaver in itself, so I didn't want hat hair. So yeah, that was a fun one. I'm enjoying knitting with mohair a lot at the moment, but it means I am permanently covered in mohair, and I always have a bit on my face. And when I leave the house at the moment, I'm on crutches, so I find I'm like walking along on crutches, and I'm like, oh, I've got mohair on my face. So Paul's forever having to like dust bits of mohair off my face. The problems of a knitter's partner, right? Okay, next one is a big finished object, and it is a gift. I know, I've knit a garment for a Christmas present. So this is one of my favourite patterns, as you will well know. the Whitmore Sweater by the lovely Amy Loudon. I knit it in Cascade 220. Was it? Yeah, Cascade 220 in kind of a tealy colour, as you can see. I don't remember the number of the colour. And I was going to knit this for myself, and then somebody who I love very much mentioned how much they loved mine, and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to knit it for her. So luckily she's a very similar size to me, so fitting wasn't too much of a problem, and I know she's just going to love this. I did the bishop sleeve and it's come out the best I've ever done it. I'm a little bit sad that this one isn't for me. But yeah, it's just gorgeous, and I'm just so excited to give this at Christmas. I've got a really nice box to put it in. It's one of the only garment patterns I've knit before that I would happily knit as a gift. Goodness me, 20 minutes in already and I'm still on finished objects. I definitely have to have a break. Okay, the next one is one I've been working on again for a long time, and this is my version of the Asney's jumper by, I believe she's called Jojo Tricot. And you might, if you're a long time viewer, you might recognise it as the same pattern that I knit for Freya for her birthday. When I finished it, I was like, oh, I love that so much. I want one for myself. So there wasn't a dress pattern for adults, but there was a sweater version. So I just, what's the word? Modified it myself. So it's bottom up, which did cause me a little bit of trouble in that I got the length I was happy with, excuse me, to the underarms. And then I tried it on and realised it was wildly too big. It was like 6 to 8 inches too big, even with ease, even with positive ease. So I took it back, and I was knitting a third size up. So I took it back and I decreased the stitches down to the smallest size. And then I also dropped down a needle size. So it works really well, because then it kind of gives it like a roomy kind of look in the kind of skirt, sort of from the waist down. And then it comes in slightly at the bottom, which I really like. And then it kind of just comes in gradually tighter until it goes to the yoke. And then the yoke goes down quite a few needle sizes anyway. And with that rib, it pulls it in. So it fits perfectly. As you can see, I did the short rows to make the neck higher. It was quite hard on the hands because it was big needles and Aran yarn. And the yarn was one of those Aldi comedy balls. So, and I used one and a part used one, so probably 1.5. So this garment cost me less than £10, which is amazing, and I love it. I was wearing it yesterday. It's really comfortable. At the moment it's hard to wear jeans and stuff like that, because it's very hard for me to bend down to get them around my ankles. So things like leggings are much easier, so I can wear this with leggings underneath, and it's much easier. So yeah, it's going to be a great addition to my winter wardrobe. I did it with short sleeves because I knew that it was such thick yarn, so it would be warm. And again, it helps because being on crutches, if you've got too much bulk around your arms don't go through the I don't know what's called, that bit. So is practical for that too, even though I didn't know I was knitting it for that purpose. So that's that one. And finally, we're on to the last one. So I always have a scrappy crochet blanket on the go, to kind of use up the very ends of anything from my Cozy Memories blanket or whatever. So I was working away on this, and the other day I just suddenly realised, I was like, oh, actually, I think it's looking about the right dimensions. So I finished it. So it's going to be quite tricky for me to show you this, but I'll do my best. So it's just lots of kind of pastel-y colours, all the leftovers from my other blanket. Some, there's quite a patch here, I think, where it was ones that friends had given me in like swaps and stuff, and they were slightly too small to go into my Cozy Memories blanket, so they went into this one, but that's lovely. And it's it's not massive, but it's not tiny either. It's like a really good lap blanket. I'd say it's just over 1 metre wide. So that's been really handy. I've been using heat to help a lot with my hip. So it's quite nice to sit with my like microwave heat bag and then cozy up with a blanket, and that really helps to soothe the pain. So it's cozy and lovely, this one. So I'm really happy to get that finished. And I have already cast on another one, which is just going to be a much smaller one, but I'll show you that in a little bit. Now I need to move for a little bit. I need to have a little stretch. So I will come back and show you my works in progress. Okay, so I'm back. I hope I'm doing okay. I feel a bit rusty. It's been a while. So move on to works in progress. So my first one I'm keeping in this cute Christmas tin that I've had for a while. I think I had a Christmas present from one of the kids in school in it. So in here is a sweet little project that I'm just gonna keep as an ongoing project, really. So I decided with my scraps of Christmas yarn to have a go at making some little mini stockings. Now I don't know whether I might build them up into a little sort of advent calendar for one of the little ones in my life, or whether I might give them individually as tree decorations. I don't know, but I just fancied doing something tiny and cute. So I cast on 32 stitches. I just kind of made my own little sock recipe. I put in an afterthought heel, and I just did a little I-cord loop to hang it up. So it's super cute, hardly uses any yarn. I haven't actually weighed them, but it's probably less than 5 grams, it's tiny. I'm using a 2.75 needle, so it works up a little bit quicker. And hopefully I'll just sort of be able to make a little collection of those. I've got my next yarn ready to go. This is actually the rest of the yarn from the little mini bubble hats. These ones, I think this is Mistletoe Kisses from Mr. B's. And this one is, is it Peppermint Bark, I think, from Vicky Brown Designs, and it's come up where it's so small, it's come up in these like spiraled stripes, which is amazing. So yeah, it's just something I'm sort of picking up when I fancy a shorter project. I'm just grabbing that and making a few more of those, which is nice. Now a few weeks ago I spotted Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted on Instagram. And my friend Lydia had asked for some minis to do a mild project, and I had absolutely loads. So I packed up a bag for her and sent them straight off. So obviously I was able to then request my own wish. And I asked for some Christmas yarn or Christmas project bag. And my friend Sarah, who is Sarah One Daisy, if you don't follow her on Instagram, you should. She has the dream job. She's a gardener at an amazing National Trust property, and I'm just super jealous because it just must be so beautiful. Anyway, Sarah is so kind, so lovely. She messaged me straight away and said, I want to make you a Christmas project bag. And a few days later, it was really quick, a few days later I received a little package, and it was on a day where I was really struggling and I really needed to pick me up, and it arrived and I actually cried because it was so cute. And she also made one for Claire, which was amazing, and Claire was really surprised and she cried too. And look at this, it's just the cutest thing. Look, this little guy making cut out Christmas trees, and where's the one, look, this one making snow angels. It's just too cute, decorating the Christmas tree. This bunny putting the carrot on the snowman's nose. Oh, it's just too cute. So it's a really lovely size. It's just really dinky, so it's perfect for socks. It's got this really sweet like lime green needle cord, which is super soft, and then it's lined with this really cute starry fabric. And it also has this amazing little lavender pouch in the bottom, which she's cut so beautifully. I believe is it called fussy cutting? Is that right? Sewing people? So that you've got this cute little name on one side and this little reindeer with a bird on his antler on the other. Oh, Sarah, it's just too cute. She also sent me some little hot chocolate sachets and this really cute hot chocolate spoon. So it was so nice. So nice. Made my Christmas, Sarah. So in here is another yarn. Oh, it's coming apart. Another yarn by my lovely friend Kelly and Nick at Lay Family Yarns. Sorry, let me just wind it back up so we're a bit tidier. Okay, so this is called Yule, I believe you pronounce it, Juul, which actually translates as July. But I felt like this was a really wintry looking colour because it's just like speckles of like quite navy blues and purples. So it just felt sort of snowy and wintry. So even if it's meant to be for July, I'm going to use it. I'm going to call it winter. And it came with this beautiful sort of movie purple mini in a sock set. I can't remember what the base is. Have I got the full band in here? No, I don't. But it's really soft. I think it's got a little bit of silk or something in it. And it's really high twist, so it's lovely. And I am knitting a free pattern which I stumbled across in the Hot Right Now on Ravelry, called The Mountain Sock by Rachel Nutting. There it is. It's hard to see the detail, but it's got just like a textured pattern. It's a free sock. It's a free pattern, so I'm not giving away any details. And she calls it the Seersucker pattern. So I've only actually printed the last page of the pattern. It's got like the stitch pattern on it because I'll do my own heel and toe. So I have worked down, oh God, I'm getting tangled. Worked down the leg on that. I'm nearly long enough, I think, before I just move the pattern just to the one side for the foot. And you can see it's just a really fun, squishy texture. What was I going to say? Oh, it's just really easy, just knit some pearls, just really simple pattern repeat. I don't need to use the pattern to do it. So it's just building up really nicely, and it does just like really make me think of like snowdrifts and like cozy winter days and stuff. So that's really nice. So I'm really keen to make a few more pairs of socks for my Christmas box of socks, which I've just got back out. My next one is almost a finished object, but I thought I had enough finished objects to show you, so I would save it as a whip. So the ball of yarn is looking a bit disastrous now because it has been used considerably, but the yarn is the gorgeous Gingerbread Martini by Mr. B's Yarn, and it's on gold stellina, as you can see. Is it gold or is it silver? No, it's gold. It is gold. And I have knit the Lola Socks. So if you don't know about the Lola Socks, this is the pattern designed by Jules of So Sweet Violet for the Strictly Sock Along, and it is to raise money for Bill's Special Bus, which if you don't know anything about Bill's Special Bus, go along to my lovely friend Gaynor, who is Tales from Cuckoo Land. Hi Gaynor. And you can find out lots of information about that. But this pattern, £3 from the sale of this pattern goes to help fund Bill's Special Bus, so I had to buy it. I loved this pattern. I think I knit these socks in about 3 days, and I know I've got a lot of time on my hands, but they just knit themselves. It's a really easy pattern repeat, really memorizable, so it's perfect if you are doing Strictly socks because you don't have to think about it. So I've done my 2 tubes. This one has got a toe on it, but I've just got to Kitchener it, and then I just need to put the heels in. So they're very, very nearly finished objects, and I just love how this yarn is knit up. If I show you like this, so it's got the sort of feather and fan pattern down the front, but look at that yarn. It reminds me of Christmas cake. It's just good enough to eat. It's so gorgeous, and there's no flashing or pooling or spiraling. It's just perfectly dyed. I know I'm biased, but it's very good yarn. So yeah, those are very nearly finished, and I can thoroughly recommend the Lola Socks. If you haven't knit them, do go and buy the pattern because it's for a great cause and you will love it. I'm definitely making another pair, and I'll show you which yarn with in a bit. Right, sorry, quick coffee. Okay, so my next whip is has been a bit of a languishing one, and I actually put it away for a little while, but I felt the urge to get it back out. And this is my Schnee shawl. Always hard to say that. It looks really crumpled because it's getting quite big already. So this is by Melanie Berg, and it's a rectangular shawl knit on the bias, and is knit with lace weight and mohair, which are held together, and then the mohair on its own in stripes. So it's lovely. It's so light, it's so soft, and I thought the colour's really Christmassy, so I thought it was a nice one to get back out now. So it's done in 4 sections, and I'm actually on section 2 at the moment. So the first section was kind of making the corner, and now the next section is working your way up on the bias. So again, it's very rhythmic, really soothing knit. I've got on there my Progress Keeper, which my friend Jen from Castleview Yarns gave to me, and the yarn I'm using is this one by West Yorkshire Spinners. It's West Yorkshire Spinners Exquisite, which is 80% wool and 20% silk, so it's absolutely dreamy. It's lace weight, so it's 800 meters to 100 grams, and the colourway is Viscount. I always remember that because I think it's minty like the Viscount biscuits. And then the mohair, I've talked about this before, was yarn kindly given to me by my gorgeous friend Roz. Hi Roz. And this is from Martin's Lab in the sea foam colourway. It's their silky mohair. So it is quite a slog of a project because it is going to take a long time, and it's kind of back and forth the same thing. But it's really enjoyable, so I'm just picking it up here and there. You'll notice I did well, actually you can't see it too badly, but I did do a bit of a mistake. Can you see through there? I accidentally did a garter row instead of a stockinette one, but I quite like it. I left it in as a design feature, and at the other end you do that anyway, so it'll look meant to be. It's fine. That's all living in my Bumble Stitches by Nicola bag for my lovely friend Nicola. Okay, final whip is a tiny new baby one. So I said earlier that I finished a crochet blanket, and I finished partway through a knot ball, so I thought I would be silly not to cast on a new one. So I've decided to do this one as a really small one. I've just done it like a baby blanket, and I thought it could just be one in reserve for the present pile. So I have no idea how many stitches I just chained until I was happy with the width, but just doing a granny stripe, and it'd just be somewhere for my scraps to go really. So that's all that needs saying about that one really. Okay, so that's all the whips. I don't actually have that many whips at the moment, but I do have some plans, some future plans. So my next thing I'd like to cast on is another Trescow sweater by Along Avec Anna. She has so many pretty patterns that I want to cast on. But Claire recently gave me these 2 skeins of Satsuma in my stocking, which were seconds, because you probably can't tell, but the pinks kind of bled a little bit. So it's kind of a slightly dirtier blue than it should normally be. But it doesn't bother me. The speckles are still amazing. It's still really my colour palette. So I've got some alpaca silk to hold with that. So I thought a little cropped Christmassy sort of sweater to go under like pinafores and stuff would be really cool. And when I knit that before, it was a really quick knit and only took 2 skeins. So that is my plan. And I've got that in my beautiful Bird Street UK Christmas bag, which I had. Did I have it for my birthday last year, I believe? And Paul hates it because it leaves green glitter everywhere. So having A, been at home for a while, B, had a birthday, C, only being able to knit and not do a lot else, I've obviously got a lot of new stash. So I haven't got it all with me because A, some of it I've knit up, and B, it's kind of everywhere. So I just thought I'd bring a few things. So the first thing is some meadow yarn that I had from Mum and Dad for my birthday. And I think this is destined to become some Christmas socks because the colourway is called Sugar Plum. Look at that, it's gorgeous. And then it's got some like gold tones in this end. I love it. That would be cool Lola socks actually. I also had some yarn from Paul for my birthday. I believe he did have some help from a certain sister of mine. And it's from the Dotty Wool Company, who I'd heard of, but never had any of their yarn. I love their little tags, so cute. And this appropriately is called Back to School, where I'm hoping to go very soon. And it's really cool. It's like grey, dark grey, gold and red. And I just love it. I think that's so nice. It's almost Christmassy. Almost Christmassy. Maybe that'd be more Christmas socks. Then I mentioned my Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. I also had a message from another friend, Imogen, who is Good Apple Knits, and she said she had a skein of Christmas yarn that she really wasn't going to knit up, and she'd loved it to go to a good, grateful home. So she sent me this one, which is from Stranded Dye Works, and it is called Vintage Christmas. It's just gorgeous minty green with like little speckles of red and green. So I think this is going to be a Christmas Eve cast on, which again, I've never done because we've always been really busy on Christmas Eve, but I'm assuming this year we probably won't be quite as busy. So I'm thinking of casting on the Come Little Leaf socks by my friend Alice, who is Homebody Diaries. If you haven't seen that pattern, go check it out. It's really cool because it's got a mindfulness element to it, which I think is lovely. So I think that might be my Christmas Eve cast on. So thanks for that, Imogen. It is very well received. I'm very, very grateful. Okay, next one was when I had my horrible injection and scan a few weeks ago. Claire popped round to see me and she bought some treats for me. So she bought me a ball of the new this year's West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas yarn, which is called Silent Night, and it is sparkly and gorgeous, and navy blue is my favourite colour, so it's perfect. And I think this definitely is going to be another pair of Lola socks because I think it looked lovely in that. This, I was really impressed. It's really soft considering it's a commercial yarn. It's 75% wool, 23% nylon and 2% polyester. So it's really nice. Really nice. So I'm looking forward to knitting that up. Then I've been so lucky recently. I've been given so many lovely yarny gifts. You'll remember I've been collecting yarn for my Mr. B's Northwesterly blanket, which has taken a back seat at the moment, but I think that would be a real New Year's project. So Lou, who is Foxy Yarns on Instagram, she's one of our very good flock friends. She always helps out in the kitchen and gives us all cake and tea. She messaged to say she had some yarns for my blanket, and she sent a package to Claire to pass on to me, and she'd sent extras for me and for Claire. I think she sent Claire some fabrics, and she sent me this amazing neon yarn from Stripy Cat Yarns. It's from the yin and yang set, so I think it came with another one that was like blues and greens and purples, but this one couldn't be more me. I mean, neon pink. Oh. So I will very much, I very much look forward to making myself a pair of stripy socks, but if I let Freya see this, she will want them. And finally, you will have heard me talk about my friend Tracy before, who is Somerset Yarns. She has been killing it with her updates lately. She is on fire. All of her yarns are just absolutely gorgeous. I dread it when she posts on Instagram because it just makes me want all of her yarn. So I did a de-stash a while back, and I used the money to treat myself to some new stash that I would actually use. And I wanted to grow my DK stash a little bit, so I chose these two skeins of DK. Sorry, everything I touch today is covered in hair because I've got my hair down. It's doing my head in. So I chose these two skeins. So I have got Funfetti, which I've had before on her 4-ply base, and I just adore. And this one, you'll see why I chose this one, Jellyfish. I mean, coral, peachy corals are just so me. Look at those speckles. Beautiful. So if you haven't checked out Tracy's shop, you really should. And she's done recently some 50-gram skeins, which have been great. And and just all her colorways are just gorgeous. She's really, really cool. So do go and check her out. So I think that's me done. And I have to say, I'm so glad I podcast today. This has really lifted my mood. It's really hard at the moment, so I'm spending a lot of time on my own and being cooped up and not being able to do much, both because of my hip and because of lockdown. But it's really been nice to chat about what I've been working on, share things with you guys. So thank you. If you stayed with me through this podcast, thank you for watching. I'm not sure when I'll be back next, but hopefully it won't be too long. And it definitely won't be with as many finished objects. But I hope you're all taking care of yourselves. I hope you're all looking forward to Christmas in whatever form it will take. And I hope you're safe and well. And I will see you really soon. Bye.